Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of my channel. Today's video is something that I contemplated doing for a minute, partly because most of my videos are definitely about traveling, but the most common question that I get is, what do you do to travel the world? What do you do to make money? I know there's a lot of interest in this subject, so for today's video, I'm gonna talk about how I went from making about $15 per hour in my first remote job to making about 66 per hour through working multiple remote jobs in a span of about 18 months. So before I get into the actual first tech job I got, I just want to give you guys some background on like how I was thinking and how I was moving before I even got my first tech job. Before I had my travel YouTube, I lived abroad in Shanghai, China, and I taught English there. Fast forward 2 years, COVID hit. The company I worked for just imploded. They weren't financially stable, and I lost my job, had to come back home, and I was just down bad. I worked at Papa John's for a little while delivering pizza. I worked at Kroger. To be real with you, I was just desperate. I wanted something, anything that would allow me to use my finance and marketing degree I had already gotten, or just something like that's worth the amount of time I put in to get my degree. You know what I'm saying? And that paid well. I ended up getting on with a insurance tech company. I won't say any company's names just because I don't want to mess up anything that they might have going on, and I don't want to mess up anything that I might have going on. So I'm not going to say any names in this video, but it was a big insurance tech company, and they hired me as a community coordinator for an app. And basically what I had to do is get contractors to sign up for this app, just like Uber recruits drivers to sign up for their platform. It wasn't a high-paying job at all. I got offered about $15 per hour, but at the time I was working a warehouse job and I was actually only making about $12 or $13 an hour. So they gave me a remote option and more money, so I jumped at it and I took this job, not loving the company, not loving the role. I just needed to get some type of money and get some kind of something substantial on my resume just to stand out. They gave me a ton of experience, and it allowed me to really understand what I can do in recruiting and how much money is in the tech world. After about a year, I asked for maybe a $2 or $3 raise, and they told me no. And I had really been struggling off of like $15 for a year. So I was like, man, I gotta do something. Like I did a year here, you know, somebody's gonna hire me. Luckily, I went to a few different sites, and actually I'll name the sites that I went on to. Everybody knows about LinkedIn Jobs. If you guys don't, it's just the job tab on LinkedIn. I definitely went there to look for jobs. I went to a site called We Work Remotely to look for a few jobs. And then I went to Angels List, and I also looked for some jobs there. All these jobs that I talk about, I've gotten through Angels List. So like, I will go on other platforms, but Angels List has definitely been like the thing that's gotten me in the door in tech. So after job searching for probably about a month, I got a message on Angels List, and it was from a huge education tech company. And they told me about a position called a recruiting coordinator and how they think it could translate over from the jobs I had in the past. And they'd be willing to train me up on the systems that I needed for the job and anything else I needed to do, which is perfect. Because I always say, personally, I just need the opportunity. Like if somebody's willing to help me out just one time, get me in that door. Once I'm in the door, you ain't got to worry about me no more. So this is also a fully remote position, and they started me off at about $27 per hour, which is like a 70% jump from what I was making. It really helped my life out a lot. And I love working for that company. I never had any issues. But to be honest with you, after about 4 or 5 months, I knew the other people I work with really well. We had a great routine. I would log in at 9 a.m. and be done by 10:30 a.m. And it's not because I'm being lazy. I'll talk with my other partners in the morning. We'll chat for 10, 15 minutes. We go over what needs to be done. We knock that out. And, you know, 90 minutes later, I'm just staring in the air. So even if I am free, I'm not free to walk and go get a drink or go get some tacos or something like that. I had to be there. And after a while, I started to realize I got to get productive in something, or I'm going to just start being lazy and not being my full productive self. So I started looking for a new job. And one of my homeboys from college actually hit me up about a position, and we were talking, and I was telling him, you know, bro, I'm so bored at work. Like, it's a cool job. I like the company. I like the people I work with, but I just need a little bit more. He was like, man, why don't you get 2 jobs? And I said, what you mean? He said, just get another job, bro. Just don't tell the job. And I said, but you know somebody who doing that? He said, yeah, man, I'm doing it. My homie is a full cycle recruiter. And if you guys don't know, full cycle recruiters oftentimes can make 120, 140, 160, even more than that off of one salary. And he had 2 salaries. So I was just thinking in my head, like, this boy getting a lot of money right now. All right. Maybe I didn't have the experience to become a full-time recruiter just yet. But I said, man, if I'm bored too, I can double up on these jobs and I'll still make a lot of money. So after talking to my homeboy, I started looking for some technical sourcing roles, headhunting, but for technical roles. So engineering, software engineering, data engineering. The company that I actually ended up signing with had me on as a hybrid role, as a sourcer and as a recruiting coordinator. And they paid me $36 per hour. So with my first job, they started me off at 27 per hour. They bumped me up to 30. I kept that job, and then I started a new job making $36 per hour. That brought me to a total of $66 per hour. Y'all, this is where I got to give my testimony. You know what I mean? Before I worked at that warehouse, I was slinging pizzas at Papa John's for 10 hours per day, 6 days per week. I was in grind mode, praying for these type of moments. So as you guys can imagine, I was ecstatic, and it honestly wasn't that hard. Some of the takeaways and some of my top suggestions / tips I had from working 2 remote jobs would be definitely to stagger your time zones. So have one job in one time zone, ideally like California, and have the other job in another time zone 2 or 3 hours ahead. And this is because maybe you can wake up at 9:30 a.m. in Eastern Standard Time, knock out 2 hours of work, and it's still 8 a.m. in California, and they just getting up. So you can wake up at a decent time, go hard for 2 hours, and still be early to your next job. This helped me out a lot. When people in Cali would wake up, they would see, wow, it's 8 a.m. Bro's already online doing work. That's crazy. So it made you look really good. My second tip would be build trust with your team so they can trust you to do autonomous work. If that applies to your job, of course. For me, most of my work was autonomous. And once both employers saw that I could work autonomously, I mean, it got crazy, y'all. It got to a point with both of my jobs where I actually only met with them twice a month. I would meet with one manager the first and third Wednesday of every month. And then I will meet with the second manager like a Tuesday on the 2nd and 4th of every month. And this is because of the structure of my organizations. I didn't directly do work with my manager. I went with a recruiting partner, and then they had their separate superior and I had my separate superior, and they would come together and talk sometimes. So it created a lot of autonomous work. And once I showed that I could complete the job with no supervision, they gave me the green light to go. And guys, like I said, this video is about career things, but if you guys take a look at my channel, I travel a ton. I've actually worked these 2 jobs while living in all types of countries, in all types of places. So that even adds on another element that maybe I can get to in another video. Let me know if you guys do want me to talk about that. But going back to the second takeaway, the main thing would be to gain trust with your employers, with your partners, so you can continue to have autonomous work and have less questions about what you're doing. The third tip I have, in addition to staggering your time zones, is creating sprints. Specific times where you're going hard on one job. For example, when I was working 2 remote jobs, I would wake up at 8 a.m. EST because I was in Atlanta. And I would work from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. EST on one job in EST time, and then I would go to my other job that was in MST time, and I would work from 10 to 12, which was from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. their time. So I'm still working the mornings for both jobs, interacting with every partner I need to, and as soon as everybody from the respective companies wakes up and logs on the computer, you see I'm there. And the last takeaway is to know your limit. So, you know, I didn't work 8 hours every day, but there definitely were some hours where I worked 12 hours, 13 hours. And I could do it. I still produce great quality work for both companies, and I left both companies on great terms. But you have to think about the physical portion of it too, and the amount of time that working two remote jobs takes on certain days. Like I said, to be honest with you, most days I was in and out in 8 hours, but even 8 hours of just staring at a screen can be a lot. So in total, with my two jobs, I was able to make $66 per hour, which is about $140K per year. And it was a blessing in every way you could think of. So guys, I hope this kind of opens up your mind to the possibilities of remote work. And if you guys have any more questions, if you want to see anything else on this topic, talk to me, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to chat with you. Also, if you've ever thought about going to Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Mexico, subscribe to your boy. Check out my travel videos. I've had the opportunity to live in every country I just mentioned and more, and I love posting videos about travel. So until then, I'll talk to you later. Peace.